This segment is brought to you by Barker Honda. It's better at Barker.
All right, welcome to Bayou Time News. It is news, not sports, because in the sports world, this is news. Brian Kelly gone at LSU. Joining me now, Mike Detillier. And Mike, I know you've been having your ear to the tracks here, but let me just say this before I ask you the first question. We all covered Nick Saban, and for all of Nick Saban's ways, Nick Saban, I don't compare him to Brian Kelly as far as his temper and all. Nick Saban had a lot of respect for you, and he knew when to get mad, and knew he didn't place blame on everybody else. If he needed to get the troops going, it was on him. Coach O was Coach O. He had the locker room. Les Miles had the locker room to a certain extent. Brian Kelly lost his locker room, and he lost the fans.
Yeah, and he lost games, okay?
Yeah.
Because if you're a jerk or if you don't kind of pass the Dale Carnegie test, okay, but you win, they love you. Mm-hmm. It's when it's the combination, okay? He was not a good personality fit here at all. And you can't coach from the ivory tower, okay? You can't be playing golf all the time.
Or going to Florida.
Wherever you go on vacation. But, you know, okay, when they're paying you $11 million a year, it's 24/7. But it's about winning and winning at the highest level. And I don't care what you did 2 years ago or last year. Coach O's proof of that. Mm-hmm. He wins a national championship in 2019. Guess where he is in 2022? Gone. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's just the way of the world today. Look at James Franklin at Penn State. He's one game away from playing in the national championship. He got fired mid-season. Gone.
Right.
This is about winning, and they paying you a ton of money to win. You got to win. When you lose the fans and you lose the support, it's gone. Crazy thing about it is how you handle things. Okay, everybody's personality is different. Mm-hmm. I've been around Coach O. We've been at events, okay? I've seen him stay there an hour, 15, hour and a half longer, taking pictures, signing autographs, everything else. Brian Kelly, he goes to his show. As soon as it's over, I'm out. See y'all. But if you win, nobody cares about that.
Right.
So
I'll say it. To me, he was just pompous. He just wasn't, he did not have that crawfish, gumbo. It just didn't have the feel of Baton Rouge. I don't think he ever tried to really get it.
I don't think he wanted it. Again, that's part of it. He really didn't want that part of being the head coach at LSU. And, okay, if they're paying you $11 million, you better fall in love with your job, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
you better sleep in the locker room.
Yeah, and all the time. I think he is a lot like maybe what you see a lot in some CEOs, not all, but some CEOs. Okay, I want to be in charge, but if I hire good people around me and I let them do their job, and then I kind of oversee that. Because in today's world, I mean, it's all over the board. But he didn't hire the right guy at offensive coordinator. He had not had the right guy at defensive coordinator with House. He had to make the change. He was almost like always a day late and a buck short for everything that he did.
We got spoiled by Brady and Insminger. I mean, they opened it up. They let the athletes be athletes. And I don't know. When we're watching LSU, when we can predict in our living room what they're going to run next, there's a problem.
Martin, the other thing, too, is how people feel about you if you're a player. Okay, you go on social media, you see some of this, or on TV. Has there been one player to stand up and say, man, let me tell you something. I really enjoyed, playing for Brian Kelly. Not a one.
Never heard it.
Did not hear that. Mm-hmm. Now, when Coach O left, you saw a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them was, hey, Brian Kelly didn't recruit me. I'm out of here. So they tagged out. And they ended up with, about 30 guys for a bowl game, a little bit more than that. There is something about how you treat people. And I think as a coach, you got to learn how to press the right buttons individually. You can't treat everybody the same. Jimmy Johnson was like that. Jimmy was, I'm not treating everybody the same. I'm not treating Troy Aikman or Emmitt Smith the same way I treat the backup defensive back.
Right.
I got to treat you differently. That's just the way the world is.
And if there was a butt chewing to be given, you don't do it on national TV. He was headhunting on the side. He was looking not only for his offensive coordinator or his special teams guy. He was just looking to chew some ass. Let's just be honest.
He was MFing everybody that was in earshot of him. And, okay, if you're winning, because I saw Nick do, to a certain extent, a lot of the same, but he was winning. And people were, man, that's a great coach. Look how he's motivating his players. But with Brian, you almost got the feeling of you trying to blame everybody else for what you should be doing yourself.
Yeah, this was incredible to see the fans leaving Tiger Stadium and to see A&M taking over the stadium.
Martin, and I told you this story, we do in pregame, Herb and I, at Acme Oyster. It's the biggest crowd we've had in 4 years. It was serpentined outside, inside, everything. It was SRO. Mm-hmm. It was the most subdued LSU pregame I have ever seen from LSU fans. Mm-hmm. And Herb was like, Mike, I don't get it. I said, nobody's making any racket. You know why? I think they got a feeling. And it's almost like, when you live in the country and bad weather's going to happen, man, the animals know about it long before.
Where to go.
Yeah, you don't see no birds in the sky. Everything is sort of quiet. Almost like the fear was, this could get real ugly tonight. And what'll happen afterwards?
We're going to talk more about that. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. More Mike Detillier. He's on the inside. He knows all this stuff. We'll be back. Don't go away.
This segment was brought to you by Barker Honda. It's better at Barker.
All right, we're back. Brian Kelly fired. Mike Detillier is with us, and you have a busy afternoon answering phone calls. Let me say this. I normally watch the sidelines during a game. I love to see the perception of it all. When Kelly was chewing ass, let's just be blunt, going from one to the other, from Nussmeier to special teams coach, on the headsets with his offensive coordinator, on the sidelines, the visible faces we could see, including Nussmeier and the special teams coach, they were having none of it. They were getting back in his grill, and it was as tense as I've seen it all year. They had had enough, hadn't they?
I think they had enough, and I do think, he won't say it, but I can, there was friction between him and Garrett Nussmeier.
Yes.
You could tell. And, okay, those guys get way too much credit, and Abraham's always about it, way too much credit and way too much blame. Right. But I think the pressure started to mount on both. And I think Garrett's feeling is, hey, you kind of throwing me under the bus, and then, okay, if that's the case, I'm going to get right back in your grill. And it's the optics of it, Martin, was horrible for LSU and for Brian Kelly. And, to me.
How do you recruit when the nation is seeing that? Here's the other thing. He's got a headset on. He could hear Sloan calling the plays. If he disagrees with all the plays he's calling, can he overrule it?
He can overrule anything he wants.
Right.
He's the head coach. And you hired Joe Sloan because you know why? He is your kind of mouthpiece offensively. Offensive football, or offense football, is Brian Kelly's baby. Mm-hmm. That's his side of the ball. Now, he might tell something to Blake Baker, but that ain't his gig
right.
On this particular deal. But you could tell there were some very tense exchanges between the two. And I always think other players sort of feel that when you getting on other coaches and other players, the other guys feel it too.
Yeah, I think he lost the locker room. How far does this set us back, unless we get the magical coach quick? How far does it set us back for recruits that were watching going, hell, I ain't going into that firestorm?
Depends on who you hire as the head coach. I think that's going to be the thing. And for me.
And how soon you hire.
Well, that's why you make the move now, because now with the early signing period, which is in December, it's in the 20s now. You don't have a lot of time between the end of the season and all of a sudden recruiting. And then now they changed the rules. It's only a one-time transfer, and that's in January. You got to do this really quick, and you putting up a staff, everything else. The first 2 phone calls I'd make, and Pete Jenkins always makes this comment to me, Michael, it's like dating. You don't know until you ask.
Right.
Okay? And if you get turned down, don't take offense about it.
Saban?
No, because I think Nick is done. I think Nick is done. I would think maybe because Scott Woodward knows Nick Saban very well, he would maybe call him and say, could you recommend somebody to me? And if he says, hey, I'm interested, hey, we'll move from there.
Open the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think the 2 guys, no question with me, tell me no. One is Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss, who's now the hottest coach out there on the market. The other guy is Dan Lanning, the head coach at Oregon, who's got a lot of Southern roots. He grew up in Kansas, but he coached at Georgia. He was Kirby Smart's defensive coordinator. He coached at Alabama. He knows the South really well. Now, does LSU have anybody that can match Phil Knight's money? The answer is no, but he might want to coach at LSU. LSU, to me, now becomes the best head coaching opening out there. Penn State, Florida, eventually, we know Florida State, that opening's going to be there. Auburn. LSU becomes the top spot because of one thing, and it's something Saban told me years ago. He said, when I looked at it, when I was at Michigan State, I was never the number 1 school in the state. I could come here, I'm the number 1 school in the state, and it's changed a little bit, but 8 out of the last 10 years per capita, Louisiana has produced more NFL athletes than any other state in the union.
The only one that competes with is probably Georgia, huh?
And Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Because of per capita.
That's right.
And for a lot of those guys, it's a way to get out. I don't want to stay, in poverty. I don't want to stay.
Nick made it cool to stay at.
And he built a big levee.
Yeah.
Man, if we had levees like that, Mark, we wouldn't have to worry about flooding. And I'm in the Fushu and Terrebonne, but we wouldn't have to worry about flooding. Nick did a great job of doing that, and also to the optics of playing at LSU, Death Valley, that Saturday night. And all those NFL players, and you watching Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase every week, and all those guys, Justin Jefferson, you can go on and on with all the LSU guys. But did it look like LSU football with Brian Kelly?
It looked like the enemy came in our home field, kicked our ass, took over our stadium, and embarrassed us, and that's the feel it was on national TV. I got a coach I want to throw at you when we come back from the break, and I want to see what you think.
Okay.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Mike Detillier on the firing of the LSU coach.
This segment was brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your partner is good health.
All right, we're back with Mike Detillier. We're talking about the firing of Brian Kelly, coaching vacancy now. I'm going to ask you a question because I know Hanky Trapp's watching. I know Drew Bro is watching. I know Bobby Peak, who came to our show last week, who was a Tulane linebacker, is watching. A lot of Tulane fans, they don't want John Summerall going anywhere, but he's a good coach. Why can't we steal one from Tulane and bring him to LSU?
I tell him this off the air because I know he would jump me if I told him.
He does your show.
Yeah, we do Tulane Tuesday together, and I mean he's like, you make me laugh. So he said, I love doing this show. You make me. You got some crazy questions with you, but one of the things with him is I think Tulane is a good to very good football team. They got one superstar at Tulane. His name is John Summerall. Look what he's doing with that talent.
Yeah.
And he's a tough, physical, hard-nosed coach. he'll squeeze every bit of the vitamin C out of the orange. Is he the top choice? I would say no, because I think that phone call is going to be made to Jimmy Sexton and saying, what would it take to get Lane Kiffin? But what if Lane says no?
Right.
What if Dan Lanning says, no, I'm good in Oregon? And Lane's, you know what? I'm going to stay in Oxford. I'm going to stay here. You got to make that phone call to John. And look what he's done. And it's successful at Troy. He goes to Tulane. And that's some big moccasins with Willie Fritz. And he was like, Mike, I got it. Okay, and I got a lot of respect for Coach Fritz. Tremendous. But now this is my team. You're going to do it my way. And I think I felt a little bit of apprehension with him in the summer about his quarterback position. And when I saw Jake Retzoff was leaving BYU, I say, I know where he's going. And he was able to bring him in, got one loss. They can beat Memphis. They got a shot maybe to get into that top 12. But, and listen, I think the world of him as a coach. He'll bring a great staff. He is a tremendous recruiter. And if you don't get him, another SE school will pick him up, and you'll have to play against
bite
him.
us in the butt.
Yep.
Let me tell you, we all know LSU is a politically connected school. It's not like some other schools. The governor don't get involved in other schools. The governor got involved here. The board of directors is appointed by the governor. I don't know if he himself had appointed these particular board of directors. I don't think he did, but still, he's involved. And this has everything to do with ticket prices and everything else. Now he's involved.
Heavily involved, and we've seen this. You know, I've saw pictures and I read about Huey Long.
Right.
I ran LSU. And if I wasn't the governor, I'd be the head coach at LSU.
He put the dorms in the stadium.
So he sort of was the first to do it, but John McKithen in our lifetime, that was not a bigger LSU fan. A few years back, Joe Oliva was on the verge of firing Les Miles. They put Les on their shoulders after they beat A&M, rode him off the field. Joe Oliva's waiting for him. Yeah, he had gotten the phone call from Bobby Jindal.
Yep.
You're not firing him.
That's right.
He is staying for another year. Now, Joe's deal, okay, Gov, I'll do what you ask, and I'll keep him for another year. He went halfway into the season. Goodbye.
Right.
You lost to Auburn going. And I do think behind the scenes, when Tom Herman turned down LSU to go to Texas, and where do we go next? That phone call was to Oliva about Ed Ogeron. He's Louisiana. Hire him. Now, I don't think that happened with Brian Kelly at all. You can bet Jeff Landry is going to have a major say here. There is no president right now at LSU. There may be real quick, and he may be talking. Well, he don't have quite the accent I have, but he lived further down on the bayou than I did. Wade Roos is in the running and is a probable candidate for that job. And I know how he feels about sports. He understands LSU athletics, and LSU football is king in the state. Because you and I have talked about this. They got people that they love the Saints. Okay, and that's the deal. They got people who they absolutely love LSU. Man, I want the Saints to win, but it ain't priority. LSU football, that's priority to me.
LSU loses the whole, the whole week is a depressed week.
That's it. And I can tell when I go put gas in my car to go to Mississippi, I can tell by people, they'll look at me, and if it's a good week for LSU or for the Saints, man, how about the Saints? How about LSU? And talk about, then, Martin, the good part is, if they lose, they'll do me like that. Man, how can you do them shows?
Sports on the Bayou tomorrow is going to be packed because people love the drama of it all as much as they love the winning. We'll see that tomorrow. But, Mike, as always, thank you for joining us, and good luck. You're going to have a good day. You're going to have a long day.
Yeah, I've had one already, but I do think it is going to be the norm in college sports today. What we just witnessed is going to be the norm. You better win, and you better win big. And what you did last year, that's your issue. I want you to win now. And this is professional sports at the college level.
There's no doubt. Mike, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Martin.
We
Appreciate it.
your expertise. We'll take a break. More, tune in Facebook and YouTube for all of our programs.
This segment was brought to you by Rouse's Markets. Feels like home.